last year that you don't even cut certain sections at the same time as others because of that. Last year you did.
We've been cutting other things.
Okay.
All the way through, so we want to put all that same height throughout the whole cemetery. But, you gotta remember, that's all sand up. And what we like to do, and it lasts, how many months now, it's been cooperating up it, you get a rain. When you get a rain, hold the sand down. So you go out there and you cut. You can actually see what you're doing, and you're, I mean, you can go out there and cut with goggles on, and it's so dusty and dirty and grimy that you can't even see out.
So, Tom, did you initiate this cleanup?
Did I initiate it?
Yeah.
No.
No, you didn't have any complaints that.
It came from the cemetery committee.
He's what?
The cemetery committee is the one that pushed this forward. They had a meeting.
So, Tom, you are on the cemetery committee?
So
Yeah.
It was-
And who else is on it?
Oh, you got
Charlie, Sue, and Dave.
from Get Hard, you got, what's his name?
But you guys all met recently?
What's that?
You guys all met recently on this?
Well, we did meet.
Who met?
Myself.
And Mike.
And I forget what her name was,
Sue. It was Sue. Sue's the female on that.
She was at the recent meeting?
yeah. And the other, Abraham, either, who's that? Either of them did come to that meeting. But we kind of walked in the cemetery and looked at things. We just see that there's a lot of things.
Just have them hold it closer, it's working.
Okay, so we just kind of looked at things and noticed that there's a lot of stuff on there that are sitting around the graves, the headstones, that are kind of blockage to being able to keep the headstones clean and clear. I mean, there's little items, little concrete angel things sitting on the ground there, all kinds of different, like I say, those plastic windmills, all that stuff is stuck in the ground.
And I understand all that. When it came to walking around and then looking at Alan's grave, you guys looked at that and just said this is a big problem also?
Well, the problem is with that grave is that it's, when you buy a grave, you buy a plot. And their plot is actually behind the headstone. It's not in front of the headstone. And the property that's on actually belongs to the Collin Township, belongs to the cemetery. That's their property. Unless the cemetery makes some special provision.
But I'm just, can you tell that this has been there for 10 plus years?
It was there when I first took over the cemetery.
I'm going to step in for 1 second because it seems like the walkway. This is the picture of the walkway. I will do your olive branch, Brian. Mom and I discussed this before the meeting. We will take 18 inches off the front of that landscaping, puts it in line with that tree. Unless there's people, cemetery committee, the sexton, his employees, that are really good at walking through trees, then they should never interfere with mowing or anything else that way. I will olive branch
I looked at it.
to do it.
I can't find much
I don't
problem.
Mom
think it should be. I think
can
we should gift it.
She's out there with a weed whacker and a rake taking care of it. Yeah, there are weeds happening. I spent thousands of dollars on my yard, I still have it. But we're willing to compromise for this. You know,
Most people that go out and put all these things on the grave maintain their own grave.
yes, Miss Peckham over there, she
Because
maintains it.
It's kind of self-induced.
So if you put it out there, you can take it off, please, like, I feel that should be the way it goes. The people that don't go out there, then that's on them. But if you put flowers out there, you put balloons out there, you put all the little monuments out there that are not in the way, you clean your own grave actually scrubbed Alan's grave. And the graves around it. I've scrubbed Chris's, I've scrubbed Larissa's, I've scrubbed Pat's.
This is the way our loved ones' headstones are left after the grass is cut. Covered in leaves. Destroyed. Miss Peckham over there has a picture sitting next to or Lori DeShano over there. For years, trying to get a piece of brass in. Because those mowers are running over those flush mounts. The Department of Army paid for my brother's footstone, black, whatever you want to call it. It's getting tore up by the lawnmower. Zero regard for our loved ones.
I'll call these other bills. I don't want to, but this one, whenever I have any kind of sand or anything, I would make sure I put at least 3.5 inches. Just to let it go.
Just so you guys are aware, these are the rules that we're in.
I'll call you.
I do like that one.
When the sex is, this is the one right here.
So I guess the big thing we're all asking you as a board, and you give your opinion, Brian, and we respect it, it makes sense.
I think what I'm willing to do right now is move the removal date back 3 weeks, so we can look at it more, to be consistent and fair. Why don't we move it back to the next meeting? Okay?
I would like that also. I think that's very,
I think it's fair, but
but I'm gonna say this, you all coming here tonight helps fill a void where the void is needed. To feel where your hearts are, where your souls are. That is what a graveyard is. I was taken to a graveyard my whole childhood. I know what sitting through many memorial services with my grandparents were. So it's a humbling experience to be up there when the guns go off. And to know the sacrifice and the love that you just stop by to see them. I mean, my wife, her dad's out there. This hurts deeply. Her with some of these things, and I think that there's compromise for all that could be done here. And we have it's on the agenda, but I think that it should be gone over by the board members, and we should have a full board when we make these decisions. And you do have 2 veterans on this board, and I think it'd be good to have everybody here for the vote and the thoughts. I appreciate everybody's thoughts on this.
So the board understands the landscaping timbers around that grave, I'm going to say it wasn't from the current sexton because that's been there for 20 years. The previous sexton was the same way. They didn't care whose loved one that was. The bottom of that stone is chipped up. That's not an act of God. So does my mom submit the bill to the township to have that replaced because the township sexton damaged that?
I don't have the correct answer for you on that.
So it's there to protect it, just like Peckham fences are there to protect.
I think we need to investigate minutes and ordinances all the way back to find out where we gained rules, because that's where I asked Charlie all week, last week was, where did these rules start?
09, when they cleaned off the whole cemetery and took out every single thing that was there.
But there's no,
Whether it was on the monument or not, Mark McVeigh
I'm
did
just
it.
saying that there's no minutes to reflect that. And everything I looked up said everything to do with the ordinance that had an amendment had to be recorded. So I just want to make sure that we are doing stuff in our due diligence. I respect, the rules that are there, but this is modern times, things change, rules change. Our zoning ordinance is, for one thing, comparable. I think that we need to work for the people. If people want something, we need to give them what they want. That's my opinion.
As long as it doesn't infringe on other people's rights.
Correct.
Or health. Look at Hartley and Hartley dumped.
Everybody
They dumped that, Hartley and Hartley dumped them, and
I
then started
agree.
putting carcinogens in the water, and GM brought all the garbage here, and that was never supposed to be dumped there.
I agree.
And now within a 4-mile radius, I can't count on my hands, in your hands, the family members and friends that I know that
Why
got
does it matter
cancer
what
out of
is on
that
our grave
dump.
sites? If you walked in and you told me, I don't like that butterfly, I don't care what you think.
Some people
I
go
don't
to a
care.
cemetery for uniformity.
I don't care, they're not there to visit
But
them.
how can they do that, Brian? If you look at headstones, Alan's got a dog, an angel, so what are the other things that I just say, airborne.
Or where they have a time at Patches
their combat
That's their
action.
places to express it. It's not different. Everybody does it different. It could be a parking stone, it could be a memorial with a middle finger flipping down. It could be a snowmobile set of handlebars, it could be a helmet.
Yes.
But if someone comes out and says to you, hey, I like it clean with a 12-inch pot, that's the rules, and you say, wait a minute here, no, this is what we're doing, this is our area, we bought this land, what makes them wrong?
Look, Mr.
What
Campbell
makes-
likes
what
to
makes us
claim
wrong?
he has a son buried out there.
Nothing makes it wrong.
His wife has a son buried out there.
Well, apparently there was 2 complaints.
No,
Violation,
actually, what
Brian.
started the whole thing was maintenance of the cemetery. And getting around, and cutting around people's personal property. The only personal property they have out there that ain't maintained is that headstone.
Just this one.
No, all the headstones, they're their property, that's their personal property for the grave. Now, the grass and the sites, it's no different than, like I said, if you line to the edge of your property line, you put a fence up, and we have to dig the grave next to it, and the fence falls into the grave, that's why that doesn't happen. Because it's all right down to a minimum science. That's excessive. You know this. You dug and found a vault. You thought, oh my God, why is that halfway into this lot? And how many am I going to have to move to get a vault in here? There's not a lot of room for error. And that's why it's a uniform thing, and it's a special place for a time and a state. In fact, I get it all. I'm not a cemetery guy. But I'm not against you guys celebrating your loved ones either. The problem is we got 4 ordinances. I'll make a motion to hold off on a month on the clean out. We'll all read the 4 ordinances. We'll come up with something, I'm hoping educated, to deal with the 4. But grandfathering in something that was illegal from the start is tough.
But how do you know it was illegal from the start?
Well, right now, all of them go back to a 12-inch marker. I haven't seen any of them where I've read that it's
There's not
okay
one.
to 80
The
years.
ordinances themselves say unless the supervisor or clerk or sexton okay it. That's what the
There's
ordinances
no
say.
record of the okay.
We gotta find out where that is.
If there is.
Yes.
And then again, it's right back to picking and choosing the rules and M13 in a smaller thing. Why does Turkey Roost get to have a drive-through and Lindog's having such a hard time? I love ice cream and hot dogs. These are like 2 of my favorite things. I'm not against that. But at some point in time, when people start attacking you, other people retreat in. I sit up here with my arms crossed because it's not proper for me to engage or get angry or be extremely
did.
passionate. I did, and I'm sorry.
We appreciate the engagement, though.
I didn't mean to fire up Mike either, but Mike got me last time, and I've been thinking about it since. He was pretty mad at me.
But for you to say the no grandfather thing, and Brad brought up a good point, because the supervisor at that time, and I want to say Millie,
Mark McMillan was the
Mark,
sexton.
yes, exactly.
okayed that 20 years ago.
Yeah, and then you would need it,
The
to
trustees.
justify it, you would need it in writing or something else.
Which should
First
be
of all,
with the township.
you would hope so.
Okay.
But you know, and he's told you, and she's told you,
And
I
that's not
got
our
no
fault
looking
though.
for stuff.
That's not our fault that it's disorganized.
No, it's not.
Okay? But I mean, when
But
he
it
sat here
wasn't-
just now and said something about the 12 inches around the headstone, he didn't even know that there was a rule against 12 inches. He's been there for 4 years. Now, I know, I apologize, but
Well, I thought
your
it was
sexton
12
doesn't
inch
even
pot.
know.
I didn't know it was 12 inch around the headstone.
Correct.
I thought you're allowed a 12-inch pot.
No. It's right
I-
there.
There's a
like I said, I just got all 4 of these.
It's a 12-inch ring within 12 inches of the monument. So
Oh.
Everything that you put on there is in within 12 inches of the monument. And I can guarantee you, if you would get off your buns and everybody would go take a little ride through there, the 12-inch monuments, there's one right next to my sister, Moffett, okay? Big, huge whale. This child died of cancer. He has the biggest, most beautiful headstone. It's not within regulations.
You're acting like if something happened tomorrow or by the deadline, that none of those other things would happen. It would all disappear. It would all go over by a fence
No, they throw in a dumpster.
or
That's
a
what you
dumpster.
Correct. I had to
Listen
fish
to
out
me.
last time.
You're acting like it's one site. It isn't one site, but it all started with, no offense, sorry, a crappy looking cemetery that had fallen behind and not kept up with the early rains and everything else. And you know, everybody's yard does occasionally too. It's not a perfect system. But when you start that rolling and you start having discussions about, well, we're gonna need more money if we're gonna have to get off the mower every time we move an angel. We're gonna need more money if we're gonna have to get a move up pin mill. We're gonna need more money. And then I got another person saying, you don't have to even touch ours. I got it. My mom has it. But then comes into a meeting and says, they didn't pick up the leaves. Well, why would we stop there? It's a catch-all.
No, that is not what was said, Ryan.
You mentioned the leaves at several meetings.
Yes.
Never got cleaned up.
The catch-all, the mulch, the
Yeah.
whatever, is maintained by mom daily, if not every other day.
And I trust
Your
that.
mowing
You're mowing.
mulches and throws that everywhere. And Mr. Campbell actually said, well, then I guess Mr. will just take out a blower and blow it off. Well, she does.
I can't speak for any other trustees. I'm just trying to give you guys a fair shake because it goes every which way. In the minute, and like I said, we're gonna read, if we come up with something, I hope you all come back and sit at these meetings and argue with them because they're not happy about how it came out. Are you following me? Because it's virtually impossible to make everybody happy. You guys all know that. We're all adults. But at the tail end of the day, it's even harder with the cemetery. We've got so much family.
So 99% of people in this room.
If you look up.
Well, if you're
other
gonna grandfather
cemeteries-
clause it in, then who's gonna give me my $400 angel back that was part of the monument?
You were the one that, you guys threw it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Where
guys
did Millage
Okay.
threw it away? When he cleaned the cemetery the last time?
So you made the motion, Brian, for the rules to go over the 4 sets. I think that we should have all sets of past ordinances to go over along with the rules for the board.
I make a motion to go over the ordinance and the rules that I just received tonight, 4 sets, so I can come up with an education, and to hold off the removal till we decide at next month's meeting. Everything as of right now will be untouched. I will
How do
make
we know
sure-
it's gonna be untouched?
Well,
You just told her.
I can't hire security to go up there and sit. Well, the sexton's right there, sexton. My motion is to leave the extra additions on the grave sites.
I haven't removed any of them.
I know you haven't, and we will come up with a plan and a date next meeting. So will you please hold off on anything till next month? And we should probably publish it on Facebook and in the county group. We will get with you. So everybody,
I'll second that motion.
She brought up a good point.
All in favor?
wait, the good point.
WSTW, WNEM. Charlie has no problem calling them when the crematorium's involved. How much does it cost the township?
I don't know, I've never priced.
How about I just reach out personally?
You could,
We
And then I just have them refer to you? The only reason I knew about this, and I just found out today, was because of his post. And Charlie's lovely post that got posted on the Basic Standard.
So
that was the only reason.
we have a second?
you second? Okay.
You made it, you said.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So thrilled.
It's a start.
Okay, budget amendments. Table, motion table.
I've never seen anything to review.
Brian, so you're talking with you, talk to Greg.
I second the motion to table the budget amendments.
So that is from all the,
Yeah. No, I haven't had a conversation with you about it. I've never seen it. We're gonna vote on table?
zoning ordinance amendments.
We got a vote on table.
I
Okay,
someone
all
my
in
second. I motion to table.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Zoning ordinance amendments. I did see, there is a further, item to release the opinion of the attorney for the privileged information regarding the ordinance amendments.
Yeah, so we're just bringing it from talk about it. Let's bring it
Yeah.
Tabling that, and is that what's going on?
No, we're we're stringing it through, we're gonna talk about it, there's new business about it.
Releasing the attorney's opinion on zoning ordinance amendments
So they can talk about it and come up with a plan.
so that
The plan
they can be
commission.
shared, the information publicly.
Wait, it's been 3 months.
Well,
They're
hopefully,
moving it to section E right here, and they're gonna talk
hopefully
about it right
shortly.
here.
So Hayden Technology suggested changes. Hayden was here, and I didn't have any, so I assume it was the treasurer on 24.
I don't know anything about it.
Carl Hayden said that they were there and they went through and stated which computers needed updating, and it was the deputy treasurer's computer and I believe the deputy clerk's computer were supposed to be the first ones of 6.
Well, I did have a conversation with Hayden in response to the recommendations. And after talking to Carl and Shane Friday and then today, they're going to be working on some things over the next few weeks to have further discussions about this. I've been working with them for over a year and a half to try to update our infrastructure. At this point, this isn't something that was provided at the time of budget. So we're going to have some further conversations about that before any decisions are made in that regard.
Okay, motion to table Hayden suggested changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business, custodial hires, Grace Anderson and Susan Comier.
Just make a motion to approve the temporary, to approve going from temporary hire as approved by the board to permanent position. They've done a really great job and stepped up. I've been very impressed with them.
She made a motion to approve temporary hiring to permanent position for the custodians. I second.
So they've been working for a week now. They weren't approved.
No, they were approved as temporary hires by this board, and then they were approved to be the ones we pursued at the last meeting as well.
All right. Roll call. Shano,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Eddie, yes. Millage,
I did talk to Charles about this one and Chief about this one. It's a little late now for the next, but they would like to have a special election. She would like the lawyers to start working on the millage language for a millage possibly in May or April to get the process going to replace the special assessment.
I wouldn't say that we had a conversation with the chief. I would say that you informed me that you and Charlie were going to go for a millage. And I said, I don't have an issue with the millage or the assessment, but there was no conversation with me directly about us going to a millage. I was just informed that we were going to go to a millage.
I apologize. I was informing the chief that I was talking to Charlie about me wanting to put a millage on the election. It was a huge point of contention. I asked the chief if he thought, because I thought 1.5 would be fine. He agreed with that. I apologize, chief, I said that wrong.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I think everybody knows.
I
at
had
this
caught
point.
him out in the parking lot after Charlie had caught and asked me what I thought about it. I said, as long as it's illegal and everything is covered, to replace the special assessment, and the taxpayers can vote on it, then I said, so be it. And he wanted to get it on the November election, but it was too close. Again, back to you don't rush, otherwise it goes toxic. So I made the motion to have the original millage that was messed up, send it to the lawyer, change it to 1.5 per my discussion with Charles and per my follow-up discussion with Chief for the April-May election.
is there an April mail?
Well, you can have a special election for
May 2027 election.
May 2027.
So we'll be spending,
To have a special election.
I don't know anymore.
If it's standard timing in May, it's not a special election.
standard time, there's an election going to be happening somewhere on something.
2 times a year, you can have regular elections in the state of Michigan.
Trent, do you know of this?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. If the
There
election
is-
is already
there-
happening, you don't have to have.
But there is one.
In May of 27, I think so.
Yes.
Look.
That's the only, one of the only times that I just been forward to school has just had their bond issues.
I'll just do it on my phone. No, it's not this one.
The special assessment district is covered until 2028, is that correct? Brian?
Yes. But like I said, he did ask me about it, and I said, if you want to get a millage rolling and let the people decide, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It was important to a lot of people, like this situation right here. So if it's important to him, I also voted for the special assessment. I could make it make sense. I really could. So it goes both ways. It's probably 50-50 of humanity of our But I did talk to him about it, so I just paid it forward. I knew what that one was about. He reached out.
Is the special assessment in place right now? You just want to switch it to the millage? That's the
Yeah.
idea? Okay. How long is the assessment in place for?
2028.
Okay. So regardless, you would hit November of next year then anyway. So you'd be able to have a regular election before you had any sort of special. Oh, 28. I see.
I made a motion.
No.
I'll second the motion to at least start that conversation.
Okay, roll call vote. DeShano?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
Eddie? No. Fire chief, resolution for risk reduction.
It's the same as the last two. It's through the Michigan Power Plan for traffic, for lack of a better word, traffic stuff. But, yeah,
Traffic cameras.
for cones, lights, arrows, anything to keep us from getting run over, or at least be able to find us after we get run over.
I'll make a motion for the Michigan Township Participating Plan Grant application for $800.
I will second.
Thank you.
Roll call. Whalen?
Yes.
Eddie, yes. DeShano?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the St. Charles resolution, citizen complaint forms and employee recognition forms. The Village of St. Charles has citizen complaint forms and employee recognition forms. When they do good, the employee recognition forms are online for the public to fill out, or whomever. And the complaint forms show for code enforcement, and also the ones that were created would show for the cemetery or any of the park anywhere. And then due to not knowing who the complaints come from, I think this would help us out greatly on the board knowing when something is directed at people that might be a retaliatory action.
So did you
Mike.
know how to make them? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you check into the technology to have the form on? if that exists on our website, if we have the ability to do that, because some of the stuff we were looking at takes something a little bit different for that to work.
What I was seeing on the, did you go to the Village of St. Charles? It's, the forms are downloadable, and then you send them
How do you,
to email.
so you have to print them and then, or save them as a PDF? How are they fillable? That's my question.
I
Like you
assume just like
take
our
print
zoning
them and
permits,
write
yeah,
them
just
out?
like our zoning permits or building.
Okay, so they would have to print it and fill it out and
And then
scan
email
it
it.
and email it back. Okay, that's what I wanted to see, if you were talking about a PDF fillable. That's what I was curious about, because that's a little different animal.
That's what, on their website, that's what they have, is these employee recognition forms, and they go to an email address on that page.
So a PDF fillable form is a little bit different than a PDF. We have PDFs on ours not
Okay, well,
fillable,
it's a
so.
form. I just said form, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, you said it was fillable, so I wanted to ask if you checked into that.
How is this different than our current?
Well, it has categories of the cemetery now,
Okay,
and other things, and then you can actually find out if somebody is doing good in your community. There's an employee recognition form, so I think it brings some positive engagement.
And hopefully the complaint form isn't as archaic as our current one. Looks like somebody took a ruler and a ink pen and a typewriter and
Very well.
I think it came over on the Mayflower. I mean, sounds,
now we can reproduce
you know,
that.
everything Chief Bernreiter does over and over and somebody can recognize it. The young lady sitting next to him, probably the first one where I believe Ms. Peckham would just appreciate what Mr. Bernreiter, Chief Bernreiter did for her.
The township general complaint form, has boxes of resolved, pending, referred, no action.
That's ours.
This is ours.
Okay.
And then it shows like complaint type, township official, employee, department, code enforcement, roads, cemetery. And then it shows the department, complaint, requested a resolution. They just need their lawn mowed. What else, what's going on?
That's one form, and this will possibly be what,
This
three?
was in your mailbox, I put it in my last Wednesday.
No, yeah, sorry. Everything I got.
It was.
Let me see it. I fixed the toilet.
But I just mean, I think we worked it out.
You did, good
I
job.
did, when I fixed the toilet, I did, you're right.
No crap.
So, in the honest of a question here, coming from a township that can't seem to keep control of its paperwork or find it after it's filled out, we want to go from one form to possibly three?
Isn't it digitized to an email, so wouldn't it just go directly to an email box? Would it be better?
No, we have a couple things we can't do. You got one from the St. Charles form.
Yeah, and this is what was created. This is what I created.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to adopt the whole policy.
No, that's where I got it from. St. Charles Village.
So do you have our previous one?
It's about this long.
Yeah.
It's just one page.
So this was just an example, and they're writing, and you
This
just,
is, yeah, this is what you use for the text.
you very,